Welcome to Tea with Tanya. I'm your host, Tanya Ambrose, an average millennial navigating life as a maternal health professional, nonprofit founder, and grad student. Join me in the tea tasting room where we spill the tea on finding balance and promoting positive living while doing it all. Hey friend, welcome back to another exciting season of Tea with Tanya. I'm excited to kick things off with our theme for this season. It's one that's incredibly close to my heart. It's also close to your heart because we've been on this journey for the last several weeks. And our theme for this season is going to be healthy mind, healthy body. When we think about a world where the demands of our time and our energy, it just seems like it just never stops. It's never ending. And I think that it's key during this time because we're going to be honest, we're out here trying to accomplish and be the better version of ourselves. So it's key that we take the time to ensure that we are fueling, we're nurturing, we're taking care of our mental well-being as well as our physical health as well. So that's going to be key, especially when we're approaching the fall season. We definitely want to make sure we're getting our mind and body right for sure. So this season is going to be filled with some insightful discussions. We're going to have amazing guests. And of course, we're going to make sure that we are providing you with actionable tips and tools to help you achieve balance between your mind and your body, because that's going to be key. I'm so excited to have you guys here joining me back in the tea tasting room for another episode. I hope within the last time you would have heard my voice, you've done something to better yourself. I'm going to say to better yourself. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. The key is for you to do something that is going to better yourself, make you feel proud of what you're able to accomplish and what you do. I hope you've been setting goals intentionally and setting them for yourself and thinking about the ways in which you can even take the big leap into doing something that you've always thought about doing. So I hope you've been taking time for yourself since the last time we met here in this tea tasting room and been able to apply these tools to your life as we continue to be the best version of yourself. Now, before we get into today's episode, I want to share the tea of the week. We are back. I am excited for some of these blends that I've been trying. I'm excited to share these tea with you. I do want to say when this episode drops, I will be in, I think, week 2 of grad school, getting my master's of public health degree with a concentration in health policy management and services. I am very excited for that, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm expecting yet. I guess as the season goes by, I'll be able to share more with you guys. I'm not sure what I'm expecting. I can say I have received the syllabuses for these. I'm always conflicted. Is it syllabuses or syllabi? Of course, Google says it doesn't matter. You can use it interchangeably. But anyway, nevertheless, I was able to receive the syllabuses or the syllabi for my 4 classes that I'm taking. And let me tell you, when I got those, they had me questioning my decision to go back to grad school. There's no doubt, there's no turning back because Tanya does not do that. I don't give up. I'm in it now. We're gonna do what we have to do to make sure that it happens. But it just requires a lot of reading, a lot of writing, which I do like to write, so I'm not necessarily 100% worried about that. It's the reading aspect of it, because me and reading textbooks or reading certain articles, sometimes it can be a drag depending on the type of mood that I'm in. So but I am looking forward to that. It's exciting. It's been a long time coming to an extent, because sometimes when I think about it, what is too soon, what is too fast, or what is too late, what is too slow. So I don't necessarily want to say it's been a long time coming. We know it was going to come, and here it is, because you guys know the mantra in my life is nothing happens before its time. So the time is now, and this is where we are. So your girl is back in grad school, so she's going to have to make sure that she's managing her time and all these things going, which is why, the theme of this season is all about healthy mind, healthy body. I have to ensure that I am taking the time to nourish myself, whatever that may look like, putting me first, these different things. And I'm just happy that we're here for another season so we can continue to learn and grow together here in the tea tasting room. So that's what I've been up to. I'm curious to know what you've been up to. So definitely send me a DM, an email. Just let me know what you got going on. I may give you a shout out. I will give you a shout out on the podcast if you're able to send me a weekly, let's say, tea gem about yourself. Yeah, we can do that. Send me a tea gem about yourself. Whatever you have going on. If you got promoted at work, if you got up early to go to the gym, if you just had 3 meals in the day, tag me on Instagram or send me a DM. And I'm very serious. Send me a DM so I can give you a shout out here on the podcast, here in the tea tasting room. All right, before we get into today's episode, I do want to share the tea of the week. A friend of mine recommended that we have the fall season that's coming up, and she recommended that I try creating some of my own tea blends, or trying different teas, because something, according to her, my tea choice was not where she wanted it to be, and she knows me better than that. So today's tea is cinnamon apple tea. Now, granted, when I think about cinnamon, I'm a cinnamon girly. When I have it in my, maybe a smoothie, when I have it in my porridge, whether that's oatmeal or cream of wheat. And then sometimes I have found myself adding cinnamon to some of my teas that I would drink. But this particular blend is a cinnamon apple tea that I'm trying. And I'll definitely share the recipe because it takes a little bit of a while to blend it, but I'm pretty sure you can probably get it in the store already blended and everything. But yes, I'm having cinnamon apple tea. And this is a delicious warming beverage made by blending apple pieces with cinnamon and other spices, such as cloves or ginger. It can be prepared using fresh apples, dried apple chips, or apple juice, combined with cinnamon stick, cinnamon powder, or cinnamon infused tea leaves. This particular tea is enjoyed when it's hot, and of course, it's perfect for cozying up on a chill day or serving as a delicious and healthy alternative to sugary drinks. Because, we want to stay away from these sugary drinks, so that is an alternative. And we are preparing for fall as well. Where I'm at right now is absolutely hot, but I'm a tea girl. I'm going to drink my hot tea any time of the day. It doesn't matter to me. I could be sweating, melting. I'm going to have my tea. But definitely it's a tea for you to try as we approach the fall season. And even if wherever you are in the world, because I'm talking as if fall is for everybody, wherever you are in the world, if you're listening back home in Antigua, if you're in Australia, in Africa, the UK, it doesn't matter. You definitely want to try this tea as we approach, the changing times throughout this year. And that is apple cinnamon tea. Some of the benefits is that it helps with reducing inflammation. It helps to improve immune function, which we want to have that because cold and flu season is coming up as well. It supports digestive health, and it may aid in weight loss, and it also supports heart health. So you definitely want to check that tea out as well, and let me know what you think about it. All right, I am excited for today's episode because we're going to be talking about what it means to choose yourself and the impact that it can have on your life when you start implementing this particular aspect when it comes to putting yourself first. And for me, I have battled with that sometimes even to this day, So let's just start by trying to understand what it means to choose yourself. And I think choosing yourself literally just simply means choosing yourself. It doesn't get it doesn't get any simpler than that, to be quite honest. But for me, it means to prioritize the relationship that you have with yourself. So when I think about choosing myself, it means simply to prioritize my relationship with myself. When you think about it at its core, it's choosing yourself is all about recognizing your own worth, making sure that you're making decisions that are aligned with your needs and your aspiration. Because too many times we put others before ourselves. You want to make sure that your actions are aligning with your values. So you prioritizing yourself. If you're someone who value your peace, you want to make sure that your actions are aligning with your values. You want to make sure that you are creating a life where you ultimately comes first. Because essentially, many of us, myself included, we have many roles in this here life. Like you guys, you've heard me talk about being a nonprofit founder, a podcast host, grad student, working full time, do not being a doula, all these different things. But essentially, many of us play different roles in our life. We are a daughter or a son. We are a sibling. We have sisters, brothers. Some of us are aunts. We are friends. We are wives. We're all these different things. And we tend to take the time because all these relationships that we have, they're very unique. And if you're like me, you're going to take the time to nurture these relationships. And then you're also going to be expecting that these people that you are nurturing as well, they're going to do the same thing for you. Because let's be real, nothing essentially beats having people that are there for you. Like nothing beats that at all. They show up for you. They're what you call your support system, and they're just there for you. And evidently, we can't necessarily. What I'm realizing as well, we can't necessarily control who stays in our lives and who goes. We can't control, to an extent, we can't necessarily control how a person may treat you. So think about it. Think about you've been dependent on a person for so long. Because some of us, like myself included in the past, I would seek validation from others for some reasons. And then these people who we think are showing up for us in a way by doing the bare minimum or doing simple things, we take that as its goal. It's goal is platinum, that these people are doing these different things, and then we end up becoming dependent on these people because we're setting certain expectations from them, and then when they're unable to show up for us, we tend to get in our feelings or experience some sort of disappointment. Now, I will say having these, as we can call them, external support or having these external support systems, it's an amazing feeling. I will tell you that. But then I also want you to ask yourself, because this is a question that I've had to ask myself, and it took me a very long time for me to even be able to answer this question. It's essentially ask yourself, what does your relationship to yourself look like? Do you even love yourself? Or why do you love yourself? Do you believe in yourself? These are some questions that I've had to ask myself because we tend to lean on others to do all the things to help validate us or to make us feel like we are living our passion or purpose or to make us feel fulfilled, right? And then it leaves us not knowing who we are as a person. Because take it from me. And, I contemplated if I wanted to share this story, but I mean, I got to give my tea tasters the tea. I got to give you guys the tea. Now, the tea ain't that sweet, but it's a little bit of tea. It's something you can sip on. For instance, we get into relationships. I'm going to keep it real. We get into relationships and we want to make sure that we're in love. The newness of a relationship gets you excited. Nothing beats a newness of a relationship and the excited feeling. But I also always think that when we enter what is a romantic relationship or when we enter a platonic friendship, whatever it may be, our gut always knows when something is not right or we may have some sort of doubt. Now, this is not me saying that every time you enter into a new friendship or a romantic relationship that there's going to always be doubt, because that's not the case in many situations. But we enter certain relationships and we just pour our all into it. We're gonna pour our all into this person and making sure that they're happy and giving them their all, and then that in turn sometimes end up making us lose who we are as a person. And I think that's been the case with me at some point in my life as well, where I have lost the true essence of who I was or how I was because I was so caught up in nurturing a person in a relationship, or as I would have mentioned in previous episodes, I was seeking the likability of a person, and that in turn made me change who I was. So when we're talking about choosing ourselves, people would always say it's selfish. And I'm here to tell you that it's not selfish. It's just ultimately it's essential. We have to put ourselves first before we can better serve ourselves. When I think about the times where I've steered away from a particular goal because someone may have probably talked me off the ledge. I've had someone said to me at one point in time, why are you helping someone when you yourself need help? And that was in regards to my nonprofit organization. And that's just, that was a trigger for me, but I didn't realize it was a trigger until many, many months later because I had a goal. And if you're going to be part of my support system, I ultimately think that you should support me. Again, we talk about the expectations that we're placing on others. And my running theme on this podcast, or for me, if you've been listening to these episodes, is that I always want to make sure that I am dedicated and committed to my goal. No one is going to ever stop me from accomplishing my goal. But the fact of the matter is, we tend to allow a person to take up real estate. We we're seeking likability and we're changing who we are. If you want to be a person that wear a certain type of clothes or talk a certain type of way, we're changing these things to fit in. I guess, that quote that says getting where you fit in. We're changing that narrative, or we're changing who we are authentically so we can fit the image of someone that we may end up loving. Again, that could be a friend, that could be a romantic partner. Well, we got to change that, because when we realize that our society sometimes often expects us to meet certain standards and fulfill various roles, like I want to mention, this essentially can lead to us prioritizing others over ourselves, and that can sometimes cost us our well being. And I think about myself, like I mentioned before, at one point in time, I have bought friendships, literally with finances. I've put myself in positions I had no business being in, because I was seeking the likability of an individual. Because, oh, I want to be loved. I want to be this. I want to be that to this person. I want them to love me. And then not realizing that I was losing myself. Because think about it. Have you ever found yourself just saying yes when you really, really, really wanted to say no? Put up a hand, let me know. Like, think about it. Have you ever found yourself saying yes when in the back of your mind, all I want to say is no, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go anywhere. I just want to be. I will say you're not alone. That has been me in both romantic relationships and sometimes even in friendships, because you think if you say no, then that person is going to be upset. And then I think for me, it comes down also to a self-esteem issue. I'm still working through that because, I'm very confident, but I think it's the people pleaser in me, and we would have mentioned that in last season when we spoke about being a people pleaser. Being a people pleaser, I would say for me, is unhealthy. It is just not healthy, essentially, because what am I doing? Pleasing everybody else, who's going to be pleasing me? Like, let's be for real. Like, I think sometimes life is all about a barter. You're going to give, I got to get, and that just is not, I'm just not going for that right now, What I've come to realize, and I'm still learning, I'm still on this learning journey, but when we choose ourselves, we are cultivating a relationship or an internal support system. So with that, we're not necessarily being dependent on the external support. We're able to dive deep into who we are and figure out what are our emotional triggers. We're able to spend time getting to know ourselves. We know what our deepest desires are, and we have a different perspective of things or even of life. And that's just because we're choosing to grow. So when we talk about prioritizing ourselves, you want to prioritize personal growth. And I'll tell you this, it's not about being perfect. And I can't even believe I'm saying these words because, again, no one is perfect, but I've become obsessed with loving myself and doing what I have to do for myself and thinking that choosing myself has to be this perfect road when it's not. Because I'm going to be honest, choosing yourself, it's hard. It is. And when I say hard, I mean, this is not me saying that I haven't put myself first, because lies, I haven't. But coming from, let's say, a relationship where you've poured your all into it, you've been the strong friend in that friendship, or you've been the go-to person for everyone, and then when it's your time to lean on someone, they're not there. Or let's say you've been in a relationship for a very long time and that person is no longer feeding your soul. That person is not nourishing, is not stimulating you mentally, physically, emotionally, even spiritually. At some point, you're going to have to choose yourself and let go. It doesn't mean that you don't love that person. I will say that. It doesn't mean that you don't love that person, right? Because you can love that person, and there's a saying that you can love a person from afar. It just simply means that you are choosing to let go, to no longer be in a situation or position where you're not happy, you're not being fulfilled. It just doesn't make any sense. Sometimes, so you can leave a relationship, you can leave a friendship, shit, you can even leave a place of employment where you're just not being fulfilled. You're not prioritizing yourself because you're caught up with your 9 to 5, making sure that everything is perfect. You're caught up in making sure all your friends are supported. You're caught up in making sure that your partner is supported. And then that leaves you pouring from an empty cup. So I do want to encourage you that if you're in a situation where you're not being stimulated, you're not being loved on, you're not being poured into, and you're jeopardizing who you are as a person, just get out. Get the heck out. That's all I'm gonna say. And I can say that just from experience. You wanna get out of situations that are no longer fulfilling you. It doesn't mean that you don't care about a person. You can care and love that person or whatever the situation is from afar, but you have to choose yourself. Because when we think about choosing yourself, there's so many benefits, honestly, to choosing yourself. When you prioritize your needs, your mental and emotional well being improve drastically. And this can in turn boost your self confidence. It positively impacts your relationship with others. Because sometimes we don't realize when we knee deep into a situation where we're pouring our all into other people, we end up jeopardizing other relationships as well. So when you choose to grow and just choose yourself, you are improving your mental and emotional well-being, which is key. And like I said, choosing yourself isn't always easy, because let me tell you, guilt and fear can stand in the way, and it's going to stand in the way for a long time. You're not gonna not feel guilty or have that fear. You're not gonna get over that in a week or 2 weeks or a month or even a year. It can stand in the way for a very long time. But I will say, taking care of yourself is a necessity. This is where we talk about setting boundaries. You want to set your boundaries and you want to communicate your needs so that you can help overcome some of these challenges. Because I think an issue with me, I was afraid for a long time to even say how I was feeling, what was on my mind. I was just like, you know what, let me go with the flow. And this whole going with the flow sometimes idea or mindset is just not, it's really not it. It's just not it. And I've struggled with I still struggle to this day when I have to choose myself, but I have come a long way and I am doing better because, like I would have mentioned, you want to communicate, you want to set boundaries, and you want to communicate your needs so that you're able to overcome these challenges, and then individuals will be able to respect you and your needs. When you choose yourself, you open the door to personal growth and empowerment. We've all heard about stories of individuals who transform their lives by prioritizing their dreams, and that's inspiring when you can see what can happen when you invest in yourself. I always say investing in yourself is costly, but it's worth it. And when I say costly, I'm not only necessarily speaking about the financial aspect of it, but it's costly because sometimes you're having to give up a certain part of your life. You're having to give up people. You're having to give up things that you've held on to for so long, but you have to grow. You have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Because what good are you if you stay in a situation where you're just consistently and constantly just feeding, pouring into that person, and you're just empty and drained all the time, and you're not even being refueled by another person. Think about that. Like, what good are you? So choosing yourself is all about personal growth and empowerment. Now, I want to talk about some practical tips for choosing yourself. This comes down to setting aside time for your self-care. One thing about me, self-care looks different for everyone. Self-care for me could be watching a TV show. Self-care for me could be reading. Self-care for me these days is taking a walk outside when it's not too hot. Or right now, it's me going to the gym to make sure that I am feeling my best and also looking my best. So you want to set aside time for self-care. You want to create a morning routine that could consist of journaling, yoga, stretching, drinking some tea. Because one thing about me, I'm going to drink my tea every morning. You want to have a nighttime routine where you're doing your skincare routine, or you may have some tea at night. You may set aside 10 minutes to journal for your day. Whatever it is, you want to make sure you're setting aside time for self-care. So when we talk about practical tips for choosing yourself, you want to set aside time for self-care. You want to practice and learn to say no when needed. You do not have to say yes for everything. It doesn't matter how you think how a person is going to feel, because the way how I'm moving in life right now, I'm just thinking that sometimes people don't really care how I feel. So why should I have to always be caring about what somebody else is feeling? I'm not saying to be disrespectful, but just know to say no when you need to. You do not have to always say yes. Then you also want to find a balance between your personal and your external expectations, because these are all crucial steps in choosing yourself. I would have mentioned about having an external support, but that internal support is from you. How can you motivate yourself? How can you inspire yourself? How can you commit to what you want to do in this thing that we call life? And just remember that it's an ongoing journey. Choosing yourself, it's hard. Like, I'm still in the process. I mean, I've chosen myself, yes, but I'm still in the process of grieving the loss of certain things. Or I still have a fear of what it means to truly, 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 truly put myself first and not really care about the effects it may have on someone. Again, we're not saying to be disrespectful, but choosing yourself, you may end up being the bad guy in a situation because you chose peace, you chose love, and you chose to just do you and just live the best, be the best version of yourself. Definitely. So it's hard, and it's one of the reasons why I started the season with talking about choosing yourself, because I've struggled, and we'll talk about all of that as we continue throughout the season. But I'm still in the phase of struggling to really accept the fact that I have chosen myself. Because it feels good when you choose yourself. It feels good to know that you can do things in your own timing. People are respecting your boundaries, and you can actually feel and see that you are growing daily. So definitely you want to just think about what choosing yourself means to you. And as we wrap up, I want you to remember that choosing yourself it's not a one time event. It's all about your mindset. It's all about your mindset. You want to take steps towards self care. So when you're taking these steps towards self care, growth, and empowerment, you are not only benefiting yourself, but also those around you. Because let me tell you, I talk about being in my elevation period where nothing or no one is going to stop me from accomplishing my goals. And if you are supposed to be part of my external support system and you can't get in line to support my vision, then we are absolutely going to have an issue. And then that's when I have to weigh the pros and cons on where would I put you? Are you still going to be a friend or a person that's important in my life? Or do I have to categorize you in a certain category of different relationships? So choosing yourself, you can feel guilty. It will be, you're experiencing some sort of fear for a number of reasons, but choose you. Because at the end of the day, you're all that you have most times. Outside of your external support, you have to have that love within yourself. It's hard. Like, you think about going through a breakup when you're having to choose yourself in a relationship because that relationship is no longer fulfilling to you. It's no hard feelings. You may end up still loving and caring about that person, but I mean, to what extent? You can love and care about that person from afar. So just remember, it's not a one-time thing. It's a journey. It's all about changing your mindset. It's all about making sure that you're finding peace and joy and happiness within yourself. Within yourself. That's the key when it comes to, for me right now, when it comes to choosing myself. Because one thing about me, I'm going to be in grad school. Sometimes I think about, should I have started grad school earlier? Most likely. Did I allow external factors to prevent me from starting grad school when I wanted to? Most likely, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to point blame, anyone. I can take accountability for that. But me choosing myself means going back to grad school because I know what the end goal is when it comes to me being in school. I have a nonprofit organization. Me getting my master's degree in public health is going to be beneficial to ensuring that Scrub Life Cares can grow. You know what I mean? Me getting a master's in public health is going to be able to fuel my passions. It's going to be able to help me to accomplish my goals. I'm not going to allow a person to talk me down off the ledge. Me running a successful nonprofit globally, which it will be globally, I'm not going to allow someone who's going to ask why I'm helping others when I myself need help. I'm not going to, that's me choosing myself, choosing to focus on my baby, which is my nonprofit organization, and not listening to the outside force or outside people telling me otherwise. Choosing myself means loving me, doing me, establishing boundaries, and not giving a F you know what, about what an individual may say about me or think. Because sometimes, too many times, people try to dictate what we do in life, and no, too many times I've allowed people to dictate or have a say in my decision making, and I can no longer, because when I allow people to granted, nothing is going to get in the opinions of those closest to you. You have to discern and analyze these opinions that you may be receiving to see if it's in alignment with your core values as well. So it comes down to you again, your core values. You can have all the friends in the world, all the external support system, and they can give you all the opinions and suggestions, but it comes down again to you making sure things are in alignment with your core values. So just think about it. Just choose yourself. It's going to be hard, but choose yourself above all else. Establish those boundaries. Walk confidently in knowing that nothing happens before it's time. But the important thing is for you to put yourself first, prioritize yourself, and ensure that you are happy. And that's the most important thing that I want you. If you don't take anything else away from this podcast, I just want you to love yourself. Don't think it's selfish. Don't be afraid to remove yourself from situations if it's not fulfilling you, because again, we're allowed to make mistakes and learn these lessons, because this is gonna having these experience where you make mistakes is gonna mold you into the better version of yourself. Yeah, that's it, guys. I hope this resonated with you in some way, shape, or form. If you needed the push to choose yourself, I hope this gave you, a little bit of a push. But I want to leave you with the affirmation of the week. And as you listen, I want you to repeat it. Just repeat it over and over and over. The affirmation that you're going to carry out into the next week, or however long you choose to take it with you, is I will not apologize for choosing myself. Okay? We are not doing that. I will not apologize for choosing myself. And that is the affirmation that I want you to repeat. And as you go about your day until we meet again here in the tea tasting room, I want you to do some self-reflection. Do some self-reflection. And if you have a journal, whatever it is, I want you to write out, ask yourself, what about the past me that I don't like, and what do you want to correct for future you? So you're going to write about what about your past self, or what about your past, rather, that you did not like and you want to improve upon, and how you're going to do that in the future. I shall see you back here in the tea tasting room next week. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Tea with Tanya. If you like this episode, be sure to share it with a friend. Don't forget to follow on Instagram at Tea with Tanya Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the weekly Tea Talk newsletter. And of course, rate on Apple or Spotify and subscribe wherever you listen. See you next time. I love you for listening.